Some players that are new to Pathfinder 2e may not want to work as a team because they want to do damage and don't want to be forced into the role of a healer. But my question for you guys is, who said you can't do both? It's time for the yin and the yang. Let's dive in. Okay, for this build ancestry, we're going to go with human and we're going to take the Duskwalker heritage. We are only going to need one Duskwalker feat for this build, but we still need to take Duskwalker so we can take that feat. For our background, I've got a new one for you guys from Lost Omens Firebrands with Firebrand Follower. And we want to pick athletics for this build so we get assurance in it. That will help us hit more often. For our class, we're going Cleric and we're taking the War Priest Doctrine. And we want to worship Iori in this build. You'll understand why a bit later. In the meantime, the starting stats for this build should be Strength 14, Dexterity 14, Constitution 10, Intelligence 10, Wisdom 14, and Charisma 16. At level 1, of course, we do get our Deadly Simplicity feat. This increases our fist damage from a d4 to a d6. And for our Ancestry feat at this level, we want to take Natural Ambition for Healing Hands. We can choose either heal or harm for this build, and we will be able to do both eventually. But for the purposes of the feats we want to take in this build, we'll want to go with Healing Fonts. And this will give us d10s on our heal spells rather than d8s. We will be focusing more on healing in this build, but we'll be able to heal and harm, don't you worry. And a lot sooner than you think, because our first feat for second level is going to be Versatile Fonts. This allows us to prepare harm spells in the extra spell slots we get from Healing Fonts, which is of course the bread and butter of this build. And since we're already using our fists to attack with this build, we might as well also pick up the Monk Dedication. The most important thing here is that powerful fist class feature, as that allows us to make lethal attacks with unarmed strikes without taking the -2 penalty. Everything else we get from the Monk Dedication itself we already have, but this will allow us to take other feats. For general feats at level 3, believe it or not, we are actually not going to need Canny Acumen for this build, but we will still take Toughness and Die Hard to keep ourselves up. For our other 3 general feats, you'll want to take Fleet for a little more speed, and Incredible Initiative so we can go first. You can pretty much go with anything you want for your last general feat though. For level 4, we're going to want to take Channel Smite. This will allow us to channel our harm spells, and sometimes our heal spells, into our attacks, thus doing way more damage. Then on the free archetype side, we're going to want to take our stance, which is going to be Mountain Stance. We are a War Priest, so we can wear armor, however, then we wouldn't get our monk ability. So, we need a stance that will give us some good AC. We don't get our dex bonus, but we do get a +4 to AC while in this stance. This +4 does stack with item bonuses we get from our armor potency runes on our explorer clothing and bracers of armor, as well as if the wizard happens to cast mage armor on us. In addition, we can also make Falling Stone unarmed attacks, which deal more damage. And then, for our level 5 Ancestry feat, we're going to take Cooperative Nature. This will give us a +4 on our aid checks, which Prepare to Aid is something we can do on our 3rd action after we channel Smite, or use 2-action Heal or Harm. For today's first teamwork reports, you're going to want to drop into that mountain stance as soon as possible. We're not going to have the AC that a monk would normally have. Therefore, that AC bonus is going to help immensely. We also do more unarmed strike damage while in that stance, so it's very important that we're in that stance as soon as possible, especially when we're in melee. Secondly, if we're going to use our Channel Smite feat, we want to do it on the first attack of a round. That way we have the most chance of hitting. And of course, we will want to be buffing our allies and debuffing enemies with our Cleric spells. Debuffing foes with our Intimidation skill and our Cleric spells are going to be very important for this build, because we don't have great attack bonuses. Not as a Cleric, even as a War Priest Cleric. So anything we can do to lower our opponent's AC is going to help a lot. Of course, that's also where our teammates come in. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about this build. Also, this build can be in melee, so you might want to consider flanking with the rogue. For level 6, we'll want to take Selective Energy so we can avoid who we want to avoid when we use a 3-action heal or harm. Then we'll take Monk Resiliency for a little more HP. Then we'll pick up Magic Hands for a little help with our medicine checks. Then we'll take Key Rush, allowing us to move twice for a single action. So if we need to get into combat quickly, we can. Then for our level 9 Ancestry feat, we'll take Cooperative Soul. That'll give us auto successes on aid checks. Which again, aid is something we most definitely can do on our 3rd action. For level 10, we'll take Replenishment of War. This will give us a few temporary hit points whenever we hit with one of our unarmed attacks. Then we'll pick up Monk's Flurry to finally get our Flurry of Blows. That will allow us to attack twice and cast a spell in the same turn. Then at level 12, we'll take Shared Replenishment. This will allow us to give the temporary hit points from Replenishment of War to an ally instead of ourselves. Then we'll pick up Mountain Stronghold, giving us a little bit more AC from our mountain stance. For our level 13 Ancestry feat, we're going to take the only Duskwalker feat we need for this build, which is Spirit Strikes. This makes our unarmed strikes magical, and they deal 1 additional negative damage to living creatures and 1 additional positive damage to undead. Thus, we can't hit the weakness of certain undead creatures without having to spend a spell slot. Next up, we'll take our 2nd dedication, the Hallowed Necromancer dedication. This will give us the Hallowed Ground focus spell, which will help destroy undead and keep undead from rising in the area. Then we'll take the feat that's the reason that we don't need Canny Acumen, Perfection's Path, for our reflex saves. This will make us a master in reflex saves, so yeah, we don't need Canny Acumen to make us a master. With this feat, we can be a master in all saving throws eventually. Next, we'll want to pick up Hallowed Initiate, so that we can pick up the Death's Call Domain spell. This is another way for us to get some temporary hit points, but more importantly, it allows us to take the other feat at this level, Domain Focus. So we get 2 focus points back whenever we refocus instead of just 1. Then we want to pick up Domain Wellspring so that we can get 3 focus points back instead of just 2. And then we will want to pick up Hallowed Initiate again to pick up the other focus spell, Call of the Grave, allowing us to sicken a foe for a focus point. Then for level 20, we'll take Denier of Destruction, allowing us to reduce damage on an ally as a reaction by spending a heal spell. And the last feat for this build is going to be Clinging Shadows Initiate. This gives us the Clinging Shadow Stance focus spell, so we can do a little bit more negative damage, and we can more easily grapple opponents if we need to. For Teamwork Report number 2, the strategy is pretty much the same as it was before, except now we're much better able to go into melee combat. We can have pretty good AC. We can heal ourselves. We can gain temporary hit points and give them to our allies if they need them. We can also sicken foes with a focus spell rather than spending a spell slot. And we can attack twice and still cast a touch spell if we want, thanks to Flurry of Blows. And keep in mind, we have Selective Energy now, making it much easier to do a 3-action harm without hurting our allies, or a 3-action heal without healing our enemies. And that's it for this build. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and don't forget to check out the Patreon page for exclusive Discord perks. If you want to check out more teamwork builds like this one, you can check out these videos here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.